Let's go. Welcome to the Solution Podcast, everyone. We're here with a special guest. We've got Mo, Octavio, and we have a special guest, a great friend of mine, Kobe.
Thank you, Nelson.
Welcome to the
welcome, my bro. Welcome, my bro. Come on.
We're discussing emotional intelligence.
Yes, is it real?
Yeah, it's a bit of a new topic for me. I've heard it been kind of thrown about a bit.
I hear it all the time. Yeah, and I'm sick and tired of it.
Okay, so let's see. First of all, let's start with what's everybody's interpretation of emotional intelligence. Like, what do you think it means, Mohan? What does it mean to you?
Being observant and sympathetic towards other people's emotions and almost kind of like reading how they are feeling, and then trying to act accordingly to what you think they're feeling.
Yeah. That's exactly what I think emotional intelligence is about.
Yeah.
But Nelson thinks something different.
I
from what I remember.
I think it's bullshit. Sorry.
So what? So what's your interpretation then? What do you think emotional intelligence is about?
Let's break it down. Yeah. Emotional.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They want me to be intelligent about my emotions.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Okay. I don't like that. Because let's say, I'm going to give you an example, right? Let's say you, someone robs from you, right? Or someone takes something from you, right? So you're going to experience certain emotions. You're going to experience anger. You're going to experience revenge, like emotions of, I want to get that person back for what they've done to me, right? Or someone lies to you, whatever it is, yeah? You're going to experience those emotions, all right? So how do I apply emotional intelligence in that scenario?
So in that scenario, then you got to, the first thing you got to do is acknowledge your emotions, mm-hmm. which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's natural to feel a certain way if something happens to you, if you go through something. So if you're robbed or lied to, you got to acknowledge the emotions you feel at that moment.
But I'm already acknowledging it because I'm feeling it already.
Yeah. Then the next step is it's your expression of that emotion. Is it going to be a positive expression or is it going to be a negative?
What do you mean by positive and negative?
So you experience being lied to or being robbed. You're angry.
Mm-hmm.
So are you going to react? Is your response going to be a reaction, which is anger, and now you're going to act out anger, which leads to a downward spiral?
But we already have a law that says that if I do act out in anger, I could face legal consequences.
But that doesn't stop no one.
It does.
It doesn't stop the people sitting in the cell.
No. I agree with you, but would you agree for the most part, it does stop people from actually behaving in a way that could be even worse?
But then in that case...
So we have a legal system. What I'm basically saying is we have a legal system already set in place.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, even going to religions.
Yeah.
That says that, well, Christianity does anyway. Christianity is not an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth.
Yeah.
So we have a legal system, and we actually even have religion that tells you, listen, if you, let's say I'm angry that you took something from me. And then if I go and I start beating you up, I'm in the wrong. And we have a legal system that says, listen, you could face prison time, you could face some kind of punishment.
Yeah.
So if we have all of these things in place in society, why do we need this term emotional intelligence? To me, it looks like an attempt to validate bad behavior.
Nah, not at all. It's a term to acknowledge behavior. That's what it is. Is a term to acknowledge behavior, because when you there's laws in place for people to put that fear in you to stop you from acting out the anger or going too far. There's laws in place. However, people still could act angry to a degree, which doesn't wouldn't cause you to.
So how would I apply emotional intelligence? So I acknowledge that I'm feeling what I'm feeling. Okay.
Yeah.
So I acknowledge that I'm very angry.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what do I do?
Good question, because I was getting to that. So what you do after that is emotional intelligence basically is all about self-governance. It's about self-management. So instead of acting angry, which is a reaction, emotional intelligence with someone with a high emotional IQ could transmute that emotion. We're talking mental alchemy here, which is part of emotional intelligence, and they can choose not to react angrily. They can choose to act with sorrow. They can choose to act excited. They can choose whatever range of emotions in your emotional IQ. You can use that, and the goal is to use your higher principles to govern the lower principles. Thus, I feel angry now. Okay, let me transmute that anger and act hopeful. Let me change that anger into hope. Let me change that anger into sorrow. Does that make sense? So I think
that person should be punished for what they've done wrong to me.
But see, because you're acting angry, that's an anger response. That's a revenge response. What I'm trying to say is, you have a choice that you don't have to respond that way.
But then you
can forgive.
Hold on. Then you're facilitating bad behavior, and you are actually creating more, and you're validating people's bad behavior in society. So, for example, if someone takes something away from you, they should be punished.
Not necessarily.
They should.
Well, they can be punished, but it doesn't mean you have to still be angry.
Because otherwise, we're going to descend into lawlessness.
Like, you can't be angry all your life. Like they can be. What you're talking about is justice and revenge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But like, for example, I got robbed. I was lied to. I want revenge now. Or
I want justice, not revenge.
Well, okay, I got lied to.
I want justice.
I want justice. Okay, justice come. Am I still going to be angry, or can I be happy now?
No. At least I will feel. How do I say this? At least I will
compensate.
I will feel like something was done.
Yeah.
So that means that what I felt is justified. So for example, what I felt, if I didn't feel what I felt, then that means that guy could have just gone about his life. And
see, what you're doing now is you're attaching your response to what happens to this person after the fact. Emotional intelligence is about you and your response, and solely you and your response. It's got nothing to do with the other person and what happens to them.
But isn't my response to seek justice?
Yeah, but do you have to? You're going to be angry. You can forgive, but still be firm.
Forgive?
Yeah.
So emotional intelligence is about forgiveness?
Emotional intelligence is about governing your emotions.
Okay, I'm governing my emotions right now.
Yeah.
I want that bastard to pay.
That's a upset response.
How is that an upset response? I'm angry that he took something away from me.
Okay, so let's take it to.
Are you saying that's a wrong emotion to have?
Anger.
Nah, there's no right and wrong. To be fair,
ooh, that's dangerous.
There's no right and wrong.
We discussed that a couple of weeks ago.
It's the expression of the anger. So when you're angry, okay, you got robbed, you got lied to. You're angry now. Are you gonna go out and seek revenge? Are you gonna go out, play basketball? Are you gonna go out, watch a film? Like, what are you gonna do?
Okay,
That's
what I'm going to do,
your intelligence.
But this is what I'm saying. In society, we have ways of dealing with these issues. What we do is we'll call the police. We report the crime, and then we.
If someone?
And then hold on.
Okay.
And then an investigation is carried out, and then once that investigation is carried out, then justice is carried out.
So how many people have been wronged, and still forgiven the perpetrator.
But is emotional intelligence forgiveness?
It's an emotion. It's part of the range. What I'm trying to say is knowing the range of responses is emotional intelligence.
I think
you don't always have to be angry.
I think it's important.
That doesn't have. You don't always have to. Like,
I think
seek
it's
revenge.
I think it's important to have those how do I
that
say
response.
This? No, I think it's important to feel that anger.
Yeah, it's natural.
Hold on, I think it's important to feel that.
It's natural,
and I don't think that anyone should be because look, in society we have things in place to deal with these issues. So let's
those things
come
are
up with a
there
different
for
example.
the extreme circumstances when it's gone too far.
All right. Let's come up with a less extreme.
Being lied to,
for example, right? Okay. Someone lies to me.
Yeah.
I'm angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. That they lie
What's
to
your
me,
response?
Right? My response
to this anger of being lied to?
Well, as you know, I'm Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Christianity, we believe that human beings have a sinful nature, so therefore they will succumb to those temptations, where they will at some point lie to me or take something away from me, and so on and so forth. So, usually, what we are asked to do in the Christian religion is to address that and then forgive forgive that person, so because Jesus Christ forgave them.
So that's the emotional response you would do.
No, I'm still angry at that person.
So, but
I'm not denying my anger. It's just that, but it's God telling me to forgive that person.
See, but you know what you've done? You've used. Yeah, you can experience a whole range of emotions. So you could be angry, and what you've done now has chosen forgiveness over anger. So the anger's still there, but the forgiveness is higher now.
Yeah, but but the thing is, in Christianity,
because of your Christianity,
we are commanded to forgive. Yeah, we are commanded to forgive, but unless you have the Holy Spirit helping you through prayer, it will be very impossible for you to forgive that person. Eventually, what will happen is you will react to that.
Yeah.
You will react in a negative. But that's to do with my actual faith and what's involved in the process of forgiveness. So in the process of forgiveness, we pray to God and we ask the Holy Spirit to help us with that anger. Do you see what I'm saying?
And I agree.
Yeah,
I actually agree with what you're saying. And that's your response. Yeah. Which is fair.
Would you say that's an emotionally intelligent response?
Yeah. That's a very emotional. That's a high emotional.
So everyone should just become Christians then.
But you don't need to be Christian to get to that result though.
An emotion is a temporary state.
Yeah.
It's a temporary state. Then something else will happen. You might have a deadline to do.
Yeah.
And you suddenly forget about that and you're on a different emotion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then by the time you leave, you could be thinking about doing your shopping. You're on a completely different emotion. So it's almost like we don't really need to think about the intelligence of our emotions because they're not intelligent. They come, they go, they pass in and out depending on what we're doing, and they're constantly changing.
So are you trying to?
And the thing about depression as well, it's like sometimes you wake up and you might feel a little bit depressed. There's other days you might wake up and you don't feel depressed at all, and you still carry on. You keep going, and I think that's the main thing we do as humans is we keep going through these emotions, and I think it's a bit dangerous to stop and think about it too much.
Why?
Because when you do, you're taking attention off your goal, off your main focus, which is not emotional. It's doing things. It's getting stuff done. Going to meetings. It's work. And if you're thinking about your emotions, you're taking focus away from that. That's just how I'm seeing it as well. It's a bit too oversympathetic thing.
Yeah, very unrealistic.
Sounding like Nelson right now.
Yeah. It's like when when you have a kid, you want to be a little bit tough on them. You don't want to make them. You don't want to be too over sympathetic towards them. If they fall over and they have a tiny scratch on their knee and they start crying, you're like, get up, come on, let's keep going.
Move on. Let's go.
Okay, I see.
How am I going to become emotionally intelligent?
I see where
that's
you're
a good
coming
example.
from. I see where you're coming from. So with regards to, you don't feel like because this is something we've been doing since the end of time, going through emotions and stuff, like there's no reason to study it. Is that what you're trying to say?
I think we shouldn't focus on it too much.
What we've been doing over time, since the beginning of time, is going through emotions unconsciously. So we've been doing stuff. There's people that do things and they be like, man, I regret doing that. Oh man, like impulses, like emotional impulses. We all have that. Emotional intelligence is identifying with those things and trying to manage it better, basically.
I think it's important for you to feel your emotions. I think what you're saying is people have been trying to is it repress or like kind of like
it's for those situations where people react in a way and then regret. Emotion. If you had high emotional intelligence, you wouldn't regret things you did because you would know you did it on purpose.
But hold on. Isn't it good to, we all gonna end up doing wrong in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
None of us are perfect, right?
Yeah.
But isn't it good to learn from your mistakes?
Yeah,
but that's
isn't it?
That's not the only way to learn, though.
Isn't it an important
There's other ways to learn.
Isn't that an important part of human growth, to learn from your mistakes?
Very.
So if you don't make mistakes from, let's say you've experienced an emotion and you reacted to that emotion and you've hurt someone, right?
But not everyone.
Hold on a second. You've hurt someone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You hurting that person because you reacted in a negative way towards your emotion, isn't it a good thing? Because that allows you to learn something that you've done wrong. And later on you realize, why did I react like that? Why did I do that? I did, but that's, guess what? I just learned that next time I'm not going to do that. But I had to go through that experience of me experiencing that emotion, reacting in that way, and then realizing that what I've done is wrong. I think that's important for human growth. I think every single human, as long as that reaction doesn't cause the level of harm, like it causes, causes illegal harm, put it that way. But for the most part, it doesn't. For the most part, people will say bad things to each other because they've experienced, because the other person did something to them. They get angry. They'll say something to them, and then they realize that what they've done is wrong. I think that's important. You need to feel those things.
There's a line as well. When you get above a certain level, it's not whether it's emotionally intelligent or not. Is it moral or not?
Exactly.
So when it gets too serious, it's like that. Everything kind of below that is a human learning process.
Yes.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Everything Nelson just said right now is what emotional intelligence is. But because he's not aware of emotional intelligence, he did it subconsciously, and that's what I was just talking about. Your state, that's why I was laughing, because everything you just said was what emotional intelligence is about.
Okay, but wouldn't emotional intelligence...
Wait. What you just said was what emotional intelligence is about.
It can't be.
But you just did, because you don't have a fuller understanding of what it is. When you do it unconsciously, it's using you. When you do it consciously, you are using the tool and you are empowering yourself.
But I'm doing it consciously. But for example, if I was to use the example that I gave, someone hurt me, right? And then I reacted in a way and I hurt that person, right? Yeah. Or I said something to offend them. Anyways, I retaliated, right? So if I was to apply emotional intelligence to that scenario, I would be like, okay, they've just said this to me. I'm experiencing anger. I'm experiencing all of these feelings surging through. I'm identifying the feelings. And now I'm making an emotion. I'm managing my emotions. I am now separating my emotions from my logical thinking. So therefore, I'm not going to react in that way. So if someone says, oh, you brick, you an idiot, or insults me, right? So my natural reaction is to do what? No, you a prick. You're an idiot. You know what I mean? To basically insult them back, right? If I was to apply, I would have never gone through that entire process.
So is that the right thing to do?
Sorry?
To respond and call them a prick. Is that the right thing to do?
I think it's important.
That's your choice.
No, it's important because it allows.
There's no right and wrong in this.
No. It's important because it allows you to learn from the mistakes of others. So from the mistake, from your own personal mistakes.
What someone calls you a dickhead, so you call them a dickhead. So you want to reflect and be like, man, I should.
And then after that, when you realize that, damn, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe that was
you didn't have to go that far.
Yeah,
emotional intelligence would have stopped you. But what you would have made a wiser decision than to react.
Exactly, but the thing
that's what it's about.
But that doesn't follow according to human growth and human experience.
It does. It's right in line.
No. Like for example, we are wiser now, right? So the way we react now, we're a bit elderly now. We have learned from being involved in those situations. Okay, some more than others, right? So. But that's part of growth. That is part of just growing up. And then I look back at some of the way, some of the ways I've responded to people that hurt me, and I think, damn, maybe I shouldn't have gone that far. Maybe I shouldn't have and whatnot.
But you know, there's different ways of learning. There's learning through experience, learning through just your imagination, learning through education, and emotional intelligence is the learning through education part. You'll talk about you got to experience, which is correct, but why not explore all three? Why do you always have to experience? Some things aren't meant to be experienced. You experience it to your own detriment. That's why there's other tools in place, like you can use your imagination. If I touch this fire, I'm gonna burn my hand. It is hard to understand, and it is simple, but it is useful.
No, what I'm trying to actually understand the term itself. Yeah. I'm trying to understand, and so far I haven't been able to actually understand what benefit does that.
Yeah.
How does that help me?
So you don't want to have the ability to process your emotions.
No, I already process my emotions. I don't believe in the whole subconscious. I think
you're overestimating that statement.
No, look, I don't believe. We all feel our emotions. We feel our emotions. When we're angry, we feel it. When we having that greedy feeling, we feel it.
But do we acknowledge it though?
Huh?
But do we acknowledge it? Some of us are sleepwalking. We're walking around drifting.
Depends on our motivation behind it.
Exactly. So in some cases, you are going to be conscious. Some cases, you're not going to be conscious.
That doesn't take away from the fact that if, for example, I'm always conscious of my emotions because I can't help but feel it. But what I'm saying is it's the motivation behind it that will determine what my actions will be. So, for example, as a Christian, even though I'm feeling all these emotions, because I believe it's immoral, my reaction would be immoral. That's the reason why I do it. I don't do it because I've applied emotional intelligence. Do you think it's really realistic that a person can apply emotional intelligence and not? It's like it's taken away from that human side.
Do you know what I think you're doing? I think because of your Christian values, or some people have their own philosophy. With you've got your Christian philosophy that you live by, so you don't see the use of emotional intelligence because your Christian values is getting you through these situations anyway. So I can respect what you're saying.
So what use would
because you're already being guided by higher principles.
So what use would a pagan and an atheist have for emotional intelligence?
Well, it's because then they will get to that. They will get to where you get to with your Christian responses in a different way. So an atheist and a pagan will get to the same conclusion. So like when you said your Christian values will, even though you're angry, your Christian values will say forgiveness or whatever Christian values, an atheist and a pagan will get to that same outcome as well. By
how should a person be emotionally or how should let's say let's say a rapist. How would you tell a woman who's been a victim? How would you tell her to apply emotional intelligence in that aspect?
Bro,
that's deep.
I would have to go the Christian way, innit?
You can't pick and choose, bro.
Whoa, okay, but bruv,
Christianity doesn't teach emotional intelligence.
Christianity says forgiveness, no?
Yeah,
if
but
someone murders your friend, someone rapes your friend, it says forgiveness, no?
But forgiveness is not the same as emotional intelligence.
Bruv, forgiveness is part of emotional intelligence. It's an emotion.
It's not.
It is.
So you would tell them to forgive.
You can say forgiveness, but you got to feel the forgiveness as well. So it does apply.
So how would you?
If you're
sincere,
sincere, that means you're channeling the emotion as well.
How would you go about that?
What? Forgiving someone? Mm-hmm. What? Forgiving a rapist?
Like, how would you? Okay, I've got two scenarios, right?
Yeah.
I've got the disciplining a child. How would emotional intelligence apply to discipline a child? And how would you tell a woman who's been raped how to apply emotional intelligence, in her circumstance?
It's a tough one because that's traumatic. For the woman, she'll probably need to have therapy or something.
Yeah,
need to see a professional.
Professional.
I wouldn't attempt to consult a woman.
Emotional intelligence wouldn't apply in those.
Well, empathy, innit? Empathy. Then I'll be like, now we're talking empathy. We're talking
towards the rapist?
Towards the woman.
No. She is experiencing certain emotions.
Yeah.
And I'm sure anger, rage, and all of these things will be part of those emotions.
Empathy will be like, I understand you're feeling this way. So
you would tell her, it's okay. Right? It's you always start with it's okay.
I'll say it's okay you're feeling that way.
It's okay you're feeling that way.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And here's what you should.
Like, then I'll probably try switch her mind off it. Because remember, emotions is temporary. It's what she's feeling at that time. So what I would try to do is change how she's feeling in that time. Maybe change the subject. Because what you don't want to do is dwell in that feeling. That's what leads to more trauma.
I think the danger of emotional intelligence is when it's used kind of used to make people over sympathetic to not big issues. So if you're like that,
that's true. That's true.
That's an extreme case which would need a therapist, some kind of like professional.
Yeah.
But if it's like being used for small things and like over pampering people with their every single emotions.
Yeah, I'm not with that.
I think that's where it can get dangerous.
So how do you discipline a child?
Yeah.
Using emotional intelligence.
I'm the wrong person to ask.
Education, isn't it? It's education again. It's education again.
Well, ruler.
No. with a child, you got to act by example. You got to lead by example. And you got to sell it to them. You got to educate them. Okay. You got to find a way, a creative way.
Children don't listen.
To break it down.
Children. Yes, everyone has to lead by example. You're absolutely right. Yeah, but you're dealing with children. Mm-hmm. And children will disobey all the time. But hold on a second. They will do. So how does one using what's it called? Emotional intelligence.
with children, it's repetition. With children, it's repetition because they're not gonna get it first time. They're gonna keep doing it because they're children. Yeah. So you got to have the strength to keep reiterating that message. Reiterate. If they don't get it, then it is what it is.
No. What I'm saying is, I'm the parent. I'm the one who has to use emotional intelligence. So how do I use emotional intelligence?
Do you know what? You don't use emotional intelligence.
I don't use emotional intelligence. I don't think you use emotional intelligence for a lot of things.
What are you
do you not get
there?
upset with your children?
Of course I get upset with my children.
Then you need emotional intelligence,
but I get upset with my children because
it's frustrating, right? Emotion.
I am justified.
Frustration.
No, I'm justified in being upset because they're doing something wrong. I recognize what they are doing wrong.
You're upset because you can't change them.
No, I'm upset because I've told them that they shouldn't do this.
And they're not listening.
And
you can't change them.
So
you can't change them.
No. So therefore, I discipline them to make sure that they understand that what they are doing is
So
Wrong.
That's your emotion.
And that's all very normal, you know. All parents will go through that exact same thing.
And look at the world today. Look how lazy parenting is today.
Well, I'm Christian. No, I'm just
But you're an exception to the rule then. But in general, look at the children today.
because they've been raised by atheists and pagans.
There is a lack of discipline at the moment.
Yeah, emotional intelligence is disciplined as well.
No,
But then I would
validate
the
bad
kind of lack
behaviour.
of discipline. From what I was looking at about emotional intelligence briefly this week, it's
soft. It looks soft.
It's soft.
Yeah.
It's soft. If you think about it too much or you use it too much, you're gonna
and that's what's happening.
you're gonna become soft.
And that's what's happening.
If you're a parent, maybe your kids will become
Because
soft.
there's firm emotional intelligence. Don't get it twisted.
It's meaningless. It's not soft.
No.
It's meaning. It means nothing.
What happens when people learn something? They just use it for everything because they're excited. So they're not trying to using it in a practical way. That's what I'm trying to say. So all that information you learned, because I know what you mean, it's from people that are using it. People that go on the internet and then they get triggered. That's actually low emotional intelligence.
The thing is, I think the actual term emotional intelligence is sidetracking from the actual issue.
Yeah.
And it might be a various different things. So the example of the kid, the real issue is discipline. The example of someone robbing you or hurting you, the real issue is morality.
Yeah.
And the word emotional intelligence
kind of takes away from
it takes away from
is that
that.
what you think? But emotional intelligence will come into play if somebody's been wrong. Emotions come into play. Emotions is life. Like you can't escape emotions.
Emotions is natural.
No.
Exactly. Exactly. So if somebody's been wronged, there's going to be an emotional response in the person being wronged, and there's going to be an emotional response to the person doing the wrongness. So you're trying to say we shouldn't understand what's going on at that level?
No, we should understand.
It's not just
we should understand
circumstance or greed.
No, we should understand. We should understand our motivation. So, for example, our motivation.
Emotions.
No,
You're talking
our
emotions
motivation
now.
is what determines the emotions that we're going to have.
That's emotions now,
That's not emotions,
bro.
So for like, what motivates your emotional response, or what like, for example, there's a motive behind every single emotional response. Do you understand? Like, for example, there's a reason why I felt angry. There's a reason why I felt this. There's a reason why I felt that.
Yeah.
So, for example, like you said, morality. The reason is someone did something wrong to me, and I'm absolutely right in feeling that emotion because I need justice for whatever happened to me. So I'm in my right to feeling like I need justice for what what you've done to me. So, but the thing is, if I apply emotional intelligence, it's almost trying to excuse that person of what they've done wrong.
That's what
You're thinking too deep. Emotional intelligence is just acknowledging and trying to.
That's it. We're taking it too deep, which actually means we shouldn't think about it at all.
Okay, acknowledging it for what purpose? Acknowledging it for what purpose?
To heal, to make better decisions.
No.
Yeah.
If someone robs something for me, the only decision to make is to inform the police.
Yeah, but is it going to solve the problem?
And I hope he goes to prison. And
is it going to solve the problem?
Punished. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Is it going to solve the problem though?
Huh? Yes.
Yeah, but the problem isn't with the emotions. It's with the act that's being done.
Yeah.
This is my problem with it.
Which is driven by emotions.
No, you're right to feel that emotion.
Well, so what? You think people act for no reason? Is that what you're trying to say?
No.
Okay, say like
actions are driven by emotions.
Okay,
you need to understand the human. We're all mind, body, spirit. So we all have emotions. We all have a soul.
Yeah, we do. We have emotions, but emotions can be easily ignored and changed at will.
See, you're thinking very logical. Yeah.
And you can change them like that.
Facts. It is simple, but in certain circumstances, to break it down helps. That's what I'm saying.
No,
break it down. Like
an action takes place or something takes place I develop these emotions because of what has taken place. It's a reaction to something that has taken place. So therefore, but that doesn't mean what I'm feeling is right or necessarily wrong. It's just an emotion. It depends on where I am. So for example, if the example about being robbed and so on and so forth, those emotions are the right ones to feel. Because what that person did is wrong, and by me feeling those emotions is what will allow me to contact the police and say, listen, I need something done about this because what has been done to me is wrong, it's immoral. Now, what I can't do is use emotional intelligence in order to forget about the emotion that I felt. And then that person goes free and nothing is done.
And then you don't go to the police.
You don't go to the police.
That's not what That's not what emotional intelligence is.
It's basically
emotional intelligence is you getting robbed, going to the police, and then 10 years down the line, you're still upset you got robbed 10 years ago.
I think
that's low emotional intelligence.
I think it's okay to always be upset about being robbed because being robbed is
no reason to hold it though.
Being robbed is an immoral act. It's something that is wrong.
See now who's being emotional?
That's not emotional. That's
illogical. You still upset over something that happened how many years ago?
No, first of all, there's nothing to say that I will still be upset. But even if I was upset, it is good for people to be upset about wrong things, immoral things.
Of course.
Because guess what? That's what allows us human beings to do something about them.
That's what makes us human in a way.
No, that's what makes us, that's what creates law and order. Because you need law and order in society, and otherwise what you do is you descend into chaos and anarchy. So you do need law. So we do need to feel these emotions, and we do need to feel like those actions are wrong and they are not productive in society because of how much it can hurt someone and how much it can cause you to even do something wrong to another person. But that doesn't negate the fact that action, what happened to you is immoral and it's wrong.
Yeah, it's part of like learning from your mistakes.
Yeah, it's like, to me, let me just say this, yeah. To me, it's like emotional intelligence is a way to excuse bad people from their from their bad behaviors. It's like it's like people are doing wrong, but let's use emotional intelligence in order to understand this person and understand how I feel.
That's empathy.
Exactly. And let's break down, why am I feeling this emotion? Why I shouldn't be feeling this. I shouldn't be feeling that. And the reason for it, it's all to excuse bad behavior.
Nah. Yeah, that's not right. That's not what it is.
No.
How to manage your feelings.
Yeah.
Nah.
So you don't want to manage your feelings.
I'm trying to learn about emotion. Guys, listen, we're just trying to explore this subject. There's no right and wrong here, even though I'm right. But the thing is, what we are trying to do, right, is just explore. And we're going to continue doing these topics because we're trying to explore these these topics because it's very important. Emotional intelligence is being used consistently in society now, and I believe it's a feminist term, and I believe it is to excuse bad behavior from people today.
No way.
And for us to be empathetic about bad behavior, to me, it's wrong. But the thing is, what we are trying to do is actually having an intelligent conversation and explore the topic and find out about it. So what's probably going to happen is after this podcast, we're probably going to go out and do some more research into it and learn more about it so that we can be, better prepared. But we have to have these important conversations because if we don't talk about it, God knows how it could influence you in the future because it's becoming very popular now, this term.
So when you say emotional intelligence, it's like excusing bad behavior.
Yeah. From yourself and from others.
What it is doing is trying to get to the cause of bad behavior. That's what it's
okay. Imagine me as a thief.
Trying to get to the cause.
Mo. Imagine me as a thief, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to apply emotional intelligence.
First of all, you wasn't born a thief.
Hold on. Imagine me as a thief.
Somewhere down the timeline, unless you was just a bad apple, which does happen.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even get out the front door because you'd be like questioning yourself.
No. Imagine me as a thief trying to apply emotional intelligence to the fact that I'm a thief. Okay. Here we go.
We're gonna do that.
You know what? I robbed this person and I'm feeling this. Do you know what? I need to separate my feelings.
What you're doing
How
there
do I manage?
What you're doing there is being introspective. Not everybody is being introspective. Like,
Are you saying thieves can't use emotional intelligence? They can't use emotional
No,
intelligence?
what I'm saying is you don't have to be introspective every time you walk out the door. That's what I'm trying to say. Because what you're doing there is using introspective in scenarios where it doesn't need to be done. That's what you're doing.
Nah. What do you reckon, bro?
This is a topic that is that almost shouldn't be concentrated on.
It's just a waste of time.
Yeah, I think it's a waste of time. And coming from
we need to have a round two.
A work, yeah, we need to have round two. But coming from a work perspective and a parent perspective, I can see how it can make employees
wimps
a little bit too agreeable. I can see how it can take the discipline out of bringing up kids, and also looking at the work perspective. I think it is something that probably people in HR are educated on.
Yeah. And they will use it introspectively. When they get involved, now they're being introspective. They'll be like, why is this happening? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Mental health and all of that. But that's the right time to use it, though.
No, I just think you should call people.
Or they should just stop being wimps.
Or they should just be like, yeah, don't worry about it. Carry on with it.
No.
Then there's no the need for HR.
No. What you've done is wrong. Yeah,
I believe in tough love. I believe in tough love.
And if it wasn't for the disciplinary action, you would have been fired by now. But what you've done is wrong. I don't care. There's no emotional intelligence here. You were wrong. End of. Let's carry on. Don't do it again or else. Hold on. All right, guys, let's give our solution. We're going to come back to this topic, guys, but I think, you know what I mean? It's been a good topic. What's your solution, bro? What's your solution?
To emotional intelligence.
Yeah, God.
Learn to use it in the right way. Learn it. It is valuable. It's a tool. You don't have to use it in every scenario, but it can help you heal if you're going through some stuff, or you trying to be empathetic, whatever that word is, empathy to other people.
Right.
Please forgive my brother Kobe.
What do you think?
I think emotional intelligence is clueless. It's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything.
I would love to know what the viewers think.
And I think it's
please leave a comment.
The solution is to ignore as much as possible anytime emotional intelligence is brought up by society. I think it's being used to excuse bad behavior from people. I think society has gotten worse. We are more morally degenerate, and now this is nothing but a way to kind of put up with bad behavior, moral degeneracy that's going on in society right now, because society and people are becoming literally unbearable to live with. So how do I say this? How convenient then that you invent something called emotional intelligence that allows you to put up with your own bad behavior as well as other people's bad behavior. It's just a way to justify moral degeneracy. That's what I think, and it's a feminist term, guys. So yeah, my solution is, guys, study this, question it, because it's going to be used consistently in society, and be careful with it. And don't fall for it.
I would say my initial thought on it was correct, and that's to ignore it. Just because I think it sidetracks from what your actual goal and purpose and meanings are. That's the main problem with it, and focus, which is all not emotional, and emotions are not. I want to say emotions are not real in the first place, only because I think we all have a real more of a control over them than we think, and if you think too much about it, I think you're going to lose that control.
Preach.
That's my thing.
I can't wait for round 2, man.
Yeah, we've got another
respect
one, guys.
Respect though.
Come on, man. This is the Solution Podcast, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Round 2 coming very soon, man. Yeah?
Right.
Love.